Lena Weiss had just moved into a run-down little house on the edge of Lilienthal, a quiet suburb outside Bremen. The house was old, 2 bedrooms, a cracked porch, and a garden thick with weeds. But after months of searching for somewhere affordable, it felt like a small miracle. Lena was an artist. After a long, painful breakup, all she wanted was a quiet place to paint, a space where silence could help her heal. The house had clearly sat empty for some time. Still, the landlord, a soft-spoken man named Herr Baumann, was polite and discreet. He never mentioned the property's past, and Lena never asked. At first, everything was peaceful. Lena had turned the back room into her studio. The light through the window was soft and quiet, just muted enough to paint the melancholy she carried inside. The first few days passed in calm silence. But then, something changed. It started with a faint sound coming from the walls. At first, she chalked it up to the old wood creaking, or a pipe shifting with the temperature. But each night, the noise returned. A soft scratching, a tapping, a distant clattering, like something feeling its way through the house from within. During the day, Lena told herself it was her imagination. But as darkness settled and the house fell silent, that uncertainty shifted into a quiet, gnawing dread. Something was living in the walls. One rainy night, Lena awoke to the sound of whispering. Not words, just a low rustling, like wind threading its way through brick. But the feeling it left behind was far too human. The next morning, she couldn't ignore it anymore. She gathered her tools and began prying loose the old wooden planks in the back room. Behind them was a crawlspace, narrow, hidden between 2 walls, a place that didn't exist on any of the house's plans. She raised her flashlight and peered inside, and froze. Handprints, big, clear, etched into the dust and soot, dragging, sliding, like someone had clawed, pounded, pulled, desperate to get out. And then, further back, a shape, a figure formed in dust, not quite solid but undeniably human, lying still, or waiting. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. The house felt heavier somehow, dense, aware, as if it were watching her. It wasn't just a sound anymore, it was a presence, a weight pressing against her chest. Then the whispers came back, clearer this time. Hilf mir. Lass mich raus. She ran to the front door, but it was locked. The handle was ice cold. And someone, had just touched her shoulder. The next morning, she went to see Herr Baumann. As Lena recounted what had happened, the landlord's expression darkened slightly. Then, in a low voice, he said, "Someone used to live there. A woman, Margareta Schäfer. She lived alone, never left the house. The neighbors reported scratching, crying, but the police never found her body." He hesitated, then added, "They say she buried herself in the walls." On the last night Lena lay awake, the whispers had become moans, low, wet sounds that drifted through the floorboards. And then she saw her, the woman, standing in the corner just beyond the reach of light. She didn't move, sunken eyes, hollow cheeks, skin like wet paper. Her breath smelled of mold. "Ich bin hier. Lass mich raus." The front door creaked open by itself. Lena didn't wait. She ran. She didn't look back. The next morning, she left the house on Schattengasse. She took nothing but her suitcase and her pallet. Herr Baumann said nothing. He simply took the key, as if he'd done it many times before. The house is still there. No one stays for more than a few weeks. They say that at night, if you pass by, you can hear fingernails scratching at the walls, and the curtains, they sway softly, even when there's no wind. Some houses don't want to be empty, and some shadows never leave.